Thank you, Tim. I'm just so already encouraged to see so many. It's been a while since it was the induction of Tim and Sarah, and to see now that there's been growth, and I thank God for to quote something from John's Gospel. There was a man sent from God, and I really believe that Tim and Sarah have been sent to this place of gossip. And when you get the right leader and pastor, when they're called by God into the right place, and you get people like yourselves who are willing to say, "Yep, I'm going to follow you," then all kinds of things are possible. And I'm so encouraged already by seeing your lovely faces, and so many of your lovely faces um, this morning. And I pray that God will open doors for you, and God will continue to do things that all that you've prayed for, and even the people who are with him now, the cloud of witnesses who have prayed over the years, that Glossop will see this church rise to be all that God has called it to be and more. And that's my prayer. And great to see Mick and Jill as well, of course, and lovely to see you. Very, very good. Okay, so I've just been preaching across the road in the church live stream. I'm in Derby right now. I live in Stourport, but I pastor this church, and because the pastor of this church died in March of this year from a heart failure. Basically, he was my friend. He was on my team, and it's the second pastor that I've lost in this region. So Tim, you stay in the north region. Don't come into the Midlands, because the Lord takes them down here. And don't let Tim come into the Midlands. But I've gone through so much grief over those two pastors. And a couple of years ago, I lost my mentor of 22 years, and I didn't have time to grieve over his life. I was so much going on in my own life. You just keep going, and then two pastors dying, and my son is the minister in training here. And so I saw my son grieve for his hero, his pastor, from March onwards. And it's the first time to see my own son grieve for somebody outside of the family. And it's been quite an extraordinary year, really. But I've been helping this church, and they do have a new pastor coming at the end of January, Andy Lenton from Leeds. And so the future is going to be great for them. Sometimes you have to steal from the rich, i.e. Leeds, to help the poor, Anyway, that's another story. And so they were live streaming, and I've just been preaching about Lazarus, really. And but this is not what I'm speaking to you today about. I wanted to bring something of my heart. I feel I'm going to bring a message to you that I've not preached to any church ever. So this is for you. If it gets a tick, I might preach it somewhere else. But so forgive me, you're like a little guinea pig. I mean, basically, if you switch off, if you turn off, if you leave, then I'm quite sure it's not a good one. I've been looking introspectively at my life this year, and basically, this message is really coming out of my own story, and I'm trying to answer the question: what have I discovered about the care of my own life during this pandemic? How have I looked after myself? So that's what I'm trying to answer. I'm going to give you 5 things in a moment of what I've been doing. But let me start this by taking you to a moment in time, a historical moment. You don't need to turn in your Bibles. Just listen to the if you're taking notes, just listen to the chapter and the verse. You can look at it later. But there's a fairly young guy, Daniel, in Babylon, modern day Iraq, and he should have been in Israel but he is with a people who have lost their way. Some of them have been released under a new ruler, Cyrus, but most stay, as Daniel does. And for the majority, life will never be the same again. As they look back, their failures and disappointments outweigh their successes and their joys. When the past is better than the present, it can be very difficult. Daniel has visions of the future, and these visions frighten him. It seems to him that life is going to get worse rather than better. And he has visions that traumatize him of a world at war with itself. He also has visions of Christ, though he doesn't really fully understand. But it breaks him. These visions break him like a shaking leaf. He also has angelic experiences. And then comes these words, and I want to proclaim these words over your life this morning. Daniel chapter 10, verse 19. The words are this: everything is going to be all right. Isn't that beautiful? Daniel 10, verse 19. Everything is going to be all right, Daniel. And I don't know what you are personally going through. Don't know what you're facing. But if you are a follower of Jesus, everything is going to be all right. Horatio Spafford, his dates are 1828 to 1888. So clearly not in our time frame. He was a wealthy Chicago lawyer, had a beautiful home, a wife, he had 4 daughters, and he had a son. At the very height of his financial and professional success, Horatio and his wife Anna suffered the tragic loss of their young son. In 1873, Spafford scheduled a boat trip to Britain. He sent his wife and his daughters ahead of him, while he remained in Chicago to take care of some unexpected last-minute business. Several days later, he received notice that his family's ship had encountered a collision. All 4 of his daughters drowned. Only his wife had survived. With a heavy heart, Spafford boarded a boat that would take him to his grieving Anna in England. And it was on that trip that he penned these now famous words, which I'm sure you know, and have been used in various new music formulas. When peace, like a river, attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. These same words can be proclaimed over your life this morning. Everything is going to be all right. How have I looked after my soul during this pandemic? I've tried to stay connected in 5 ways. And I want to suggest to you to connect in these 5 ways. Firstly, I've looked above. See, Jesus Christ and you are not where you think you are. Christ and you are not where you think you are. You actually think you're sitting in your home or office or wherever you are, on a phone somewhere, in a car. It's been amazing on these Zoom calls where people really are. Sometimes I do Zoom calls to Africa and there's somebody hanging out a tree trying to get a signal. But that's not where you are today. Paul, the Apostle Paul in Colossians 3, Colossians is a beautiful book speaking about the supremacy of Christ, that Christ is enough, the sufficiency of Christ. You don't need Christ plus a whole bunch of man-made rules or some other kind of philosophy. The sufficiency of Christ is enough because Christ is supreme. And he says in Colossians 3, at the end of verse 3, your life is now hidden with Christ in God. What Paul tries to describe to the Colossian church as he is in prison, he's saying that Jesus Christ is above and beyond. He is above your circumstance. He is above your situation. He is supreme. He is Lord of Lords. He is a name above all names, etc. But the point being is, it's not a case of, Christ is with me in my prison. And often we try, and that's our first thought, that Christ is with me in this pandemic. Christ is with me in this circumstance. No, it's a complete change of that thought. That actually you are not, this is not where you are, but your life is hidden in Christ. You are an eternal being. Your life is not centered around your circumstance. Your circumstance does not have the final word of your life. And I've had to train myself during whatever circumstance I felt and found myself in this year, whether it's through grief, whether it's through loss, whether it's through pressure upon my life, whether it's through tiredness. And I could list the whole thing, and I don't want to do that just in case I miss one of yours off. But, you've gone through some stuff this year, quite sure. It's not about bringing Jesus into your situation. It's about you recognizing that actually your life is hidden. Your life is above everything that you face. And you've got to lift up your eyes. You've got to lift up your focus. And I have had to train myself to connect with Christ who is above me, because I am not where I think I am at times. I'm not trapped. I'm not contained. I'm not held back. Secondly, I need to look to my side. I've had to look to my friend and my friends. Paul is an interesting, wonderful theologian who, throughout his letters, reveals wonderful truths about Christ. But have you noticed that at the end of his letters, he always ends with the names of people? Wherever you look, he always ends with personal relationships of either people who are with him sending greetings, or someone who's taking this letter to you from where I am, whether it's in a prison or on a journey, or he's greeting people that he knows who are going to receive this letter. He's continually saying, here's my theology, here's the belief, here's what I want you to hold on to. But now let me talk to you about personal relationships. We need both of them. In fact, Paul would use words like, they are a comfort to me. They have encouraged me. They are good for me. We do need to pursue Christ, but we need to pursue our love and care for one another. Yeah, I've been a pastor, as you know. One of the things that I would always get, a bit grouchy about was if somebody said, I'm leaving the church because there's no love here. And I knew that person had done not squat all to make the church better. They'd just done nothing. When you are going through a tough time, and you've been a Christian for many, many years, there is no excuse to sit back and wait that somebody might phone you, somebody might call you, come round to you, somebody might give you a gift, somebody might pick you up. If you've been a Christian and you know the theology of Christ, and you know your Bible, you've been praying for years and years and years. I mean, I take, new convert, you just come to Christ in the last year. I get it. You don't know this. But if you've walked the walk for a long period of time, you need to be a pursuer. You need to be proactive. When you are going through a tough time, you need to connect. You need someone on the side. Your attention must go to people and you must draw them into your life. When I went through some stuff this year, I arranged a coffee with somebody I could trust, somebody who knew me. I arranged a coffee with that person. They didn't know what they were coming to the meeting for. Thought it was just a little catch up. And I said, look, while I'm having this coffee, can I just tell you how it is? Because I'm connecting to Christ, but I need to connect to somebody alongside me. And I need to tell you what I'm going through. And they said, I'll be privileged to hear from you. And I was just able to share all that coffee. I just poured out some of the stuff that was in my life. And you need to pursue within this church. You need to pursue friends. And you need to say, look, there are times in my life I need to connect with you. And I need to tell you how it is. Man to man, woman to woman, couple to couple, however it is, you need to connect to someone next to you. You cannot wait for somebody to phone you. That's what the enemy of your soul wants that to happen. And then he'll deceive you, manipulate the situation, and then show you, see, nobody cares. Nobody loves. Nobody's bothered. You've got to be the one. You've got to pick up the phone. Why have you phoned me? Why are you calling me? It's because I need you. I need to talk to you. If you're going to look after your heart, if you're going to look after your soul, then you need to look up and you need to look to the side. Thirdly, you need to look inside. You need to look inside you. And when I say about looking inside, you've looked to Christ, you look to your friend. I think you need to be thankful inside. Do you know that lovely verse when Jesus took the loaves, feeding 5,000, took the loaves. He took these loaves of bread compared to 5,000 men plus women and children. I mean, just an impossible situation. I mean, when you look at the bread, thinking, well, that's just useless. You might as well just throw that away, really, or give it to the 12 disciples. You can have it as a bit of a perk. But absolutely nonsense. But what did Jesus do with it? He gave thanks. And when he gave thanks and he broke it, something happened. A miracle took place. And you may not like who you are, and you may not like your life shape. You may not like your age. You may feel insignificant, worthless. But if you give you to him, no matter what you're going through, you give you to him, to the miracle worker. If you, within your life, say, Jesus, I'm going to be thankful for who I am. I give you my mind, my heart. I give you my material things. I'm just going to be thankful for where I am in this stage. I put me into your hands. Ette Illesum, Dutch Jewish girl in Amsterdam, late 1930s, had an ambition to be a writer. She was captured by the Nazis. She could have gained freedom, but she stayed with her people to help them. And her journals record a woman who, on the outside, was nothing, but her inner soul was everything that beauty could bring. Within her was amazing beauty. She gave herself to prayer, and she no longer had an ambition for fame. But now she was going to create a beauty in the hell of a concentration camp. And she wrote these words, nothing can happen to me. Oh my goodness. In the worst of, in the hell on earth, she writes, nothing can happen to me. Sometimes when I stand in some corner of this camp, my feet planted on your earth, my eyes raised towards your heaven, tears run down my face, tears of deep emotion and gratitude. The more Etty's plight became hopeless, the more hope shone within her. And she wrote, by excluding death from our life, we cannot live a full life. By admitting death into our life, we enlarge and enrich it. Her final words were written on a postcard, which she threw off wagon number 12, the train that she rode to what she knew would be to her death in Auschwitz. And she wrote this, we left camp singing. That's a choice made in a painful reality, a choice that we must make, that no matter what is going on around me, I will dig deep into my soul and I will give thanks to you for my life. The fourth area, I'm looking up, I'm looking to my side, I look deep inside me. Give thanks to him. Fourth thing is I look below. I look below me. I find the towel and the basin. You know that Jesus got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, wrapped a towel around his waist, etc. That story is totally unacceptable. It should not be in the Bible. That a rabbi would wash the feet of his disciples. It's unheard of. But Jesus showed from the start to the finish how the Son of God became a baby, though he is a king. How the Son of God took an ordinary name, though he has the name above all names. The Son of God wrapped a towel around his waist and he became a servant, though one day every knee will bow before him. That the Son of God became obedient to death on a criminal's low-life cross, even though he sits on an eternal throne. And if Jesus can do that, then so can I, and so can you. We can go below and we can serve somebody else. Whatever you are going through, it is demanding your attention, it's demanding your focus, and you need to take your eyes off that and look to somebody else and serve them. Which brings me to this final thing. So I look above, I look to my side, I look above to Christ, see that that's where I'm hidden, that's where I am. I look to my side and I draw friends into my life. I look into my soul and I give thanks for what he has done and who I am. I look below and I serve somebody. And I look finally beyond. And I focus on those who walk out their faith in worse places than I walk in. Paul realizes often when he's in prison that there's no place where he can go where God isn't. He never says that I'm a prisoner of Rome, I'm a prisoner of Ephesus. He always says, I'm a prisoner for the Lord. There's no place where God isn't. My heart's been in Africa for 20 years and I'm blessed to have friends there. I've often thought early on in my years, I've often thought about, I'm going into some non-sacred place only to discover that I was about to discover something beautiful about the Lord that I had never known. So I found him with the amputees of Sierra Leone, the persecuted of northern Nigeria and Burkina Faso. I found him in the raped of DRC, the prisons of Niger, the HIV stories of Swaziland, the famine of many nations, the slums of Kenya, the graves of Zimbabwe, the orphans of Malawi. The list just goes on and on. Prisons. It's important to focus on those people who walk out their faith in worse places than you are right now. Whether that's across the nations or whether that's in child poverty in the UK, in the trafficked people of the UK, the slums of the UK, the streets of despair, go beyond, even to the prisons. I saw on social media a few weeks ago a posting of the America's Got Talent show. Forgive me if you think I should just be watching God Channel all day. In order to keep connected with the sinners of gossip, I have to watch worldly television. And I saw a posting of America's Got Talent. There's a man, you can find this on YouTube, a man called Archie Williams. In fact, watch it. It'll bring you to tears. And he came onto the stage to sing Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. It's not a worship song. But it's hard to watch without tears. Archie went onto the stage and he opened up with this sentence. I was just incarcerated for 37 years for somebody else's crime, but DNA freed me. On the morning of December the 9th of 1982, a 30-year-old white woman was raped and stabbed in her home. I was arrested on January the 4th. I couldn't believe it was really happening. I knew I was innocent. I didn't commit a crime, but being a poor black kid, I didn't have the economic ability to fight the state of Louisiana. At the trial, none of the fingerprints at the scene matched mine. 3 people testified that I was at home, but they wanted somebody to pay. I was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole or probation. Days turned into weeks and into months and into decades. It was like a nightmare. He concluded with these words, freedom is of the mind. I went to prison, but I never let my mind go to prison. How can we be in the right place when we are in prison? Only if we don't allow prison to be the place that we are in. We have got to bring God back into the center of our prison or our pandemic or whatever the set of problems that we have, so that we don't talk about the prison as much as we do about him. When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. We're going to come out of this pandemic, and we are still going to be in seasons where we find ourselves contained. It's life. But I hope that we have learnt that during this time we have taken care of our soul, that we will not forget how to take care of ourselves in the seasons to come. I hope that we will know that everything is going to be all right if you take care of your soul by abiding in Christ, looking above, finding a friend to your side, looking within your life and being thankful for who you are despite the circumstance. Going deeper and below and getting on your knees and serving somebody else and looking beyond you to people whose circumstances are far worse than yours and mine, and to see how they walk out their faith in their prisons of life. And we'll know that everything is going to be all right. May God bless you.